Well, first of all, thank you for doing this interview. Um, so, if my memory is correct, were you like paralyzed as a kid or something?
I was paralyzed as a teenager.
As a teenager.
Yeah,
All right.
I was at a basketball camp, and I think we had come back from New Jersey from a tournament, and wanted to kind of get some exposure to some other schools. And went to a camp in Georgia, and went up for a layup, and I didn't have any legs. It was,
Oh,
and that's kind of where it started.
yeah. What was your reaction when they told you that you were paralyzed? Like,
After the fact,
yeah, like after, like, what was your reaction
man,
to it?
I was scared. I really was. I was really literally scared for my life I when I discovered what type of virus, that it was a virus, um, that there were no known cures. I don't think there still is at this day and time, that pretty much this virus has to run its course.
Wow.
And so I was pretty scared.
Man. So you played basketball while like before and after did you ever play like any like wheelchair basketball like when you were paralyzed? Like did you?
No, I didn't have. So what the virus does is called Guillain-Barré. Um, it was discovered by these French guys. I believe Guillain, I think, is French for William, and then Barré, Barre. Um, so, and you can actually look it up, and it should give you the proper spelling. Um, but the virus, pretty much, what it does is kind of travels from your lower extremities, like your feet and your legs, and then it travels up your body. And what happens is that the coating around your nerve deteriorates. So it's kind of like putting peanut butter on bread, and you're trying to pull the peanut butter off, and it takes the bread up just as well.
Hmm.
And so it removes everything um, from around that nerve. And then it depends on the person, but it can um, go rapid or it can go slow. I think mine was kind of a slow case. Um, and I had some tingling, and then began, uh, first was muscle weakness, then I began to have a little tingling as it traveled up from my legs, and then I began to feel the tingling in my hands and things of that nature. So it was a scary feeling.
Wow. How long were you paralyzed for?
It was about, let's see, June, July, August. It was about a good 3 months. Like when
Wow.
I was fully paralyzed, it was about maybe a month and a half. But once I got in the hospital, um, I didn't do a whole lot of more movement or exercise or things of that nature. So the it just kept ascending and kept coming up and affecting my nerves. Some thought that it may have occurred due to some type of flu shot that I may have taken
Oh.
at that time, because I was traveling. You want to kind of take care of your body and uh, take care of your system, because you get exposed to a lot when um, you're traveling and things of that nature.
Oh.
You want to be careful to immunize yourself. during travel. So that's kind of what I did. And I don't know for sure, but that's kind of where I believe it started, where I believe that the virus began to spread throughout my system.
Okay, so so for college ball, did you play for Concordia or something?
Yes. So initially, after high school, I went to Grayson County College, which is in Denison, Texas. And I think maybe Eisenhower was born there. Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah.
One of the presidents.
Oh.
I think he may have been born there. That's where I went to school. It was an old military Air Force base type school that had kind of been abandoned, and they repurposed the campus to a college campus.
Oh. Did you want to be a Marine?
Huh?
Did you want to be a Marine? Is that why you went there?
Oh, no. I after being paralyzed, a lot of the, I would say, scouts or interest from schools went down because they didn't see the potential of what I could have been as a player. They saw that kind of washed away. Schools like North Carolina State, at the time where Jimmy Valvano was the coach. And you probably have to look that up when you see him on TV. And I was hurt when he died because he died of cancer.
Oh.
And let's see, I had some other schools, some HBCU schools that were interested in me. Maybe one school in Florida, school in Georgia. So they were small schools, but NC State was probably the bigger one.
Yeah, NC State because of Jordan, right?
No, he was at North Carolina.
Oh.
Valvano was at North Carolina State.
Oh, okay.
The school is red and white, I think, in color. The Wolfpack.
While you were playing basketball, did you also play any other sports? Like, were you like a multi-sport guy?
Oh no, man! I had no other skill sets. I tried track, but I got everybody outran me, man. It was just so track taught me how to stay out of trouble because I couldn't run. I did try. I played little league football, and a good friend of mine played with me, Ricky Smiley. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ricky Smiley. But he and I, he's a comedian / your dad may know who he is. He's a comedian, movie actor, millionaire pretty much, but he's one of my best friends, man.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah. So we played little league football, but I couldn't transfer any of those skills to high school.
Yeah. So I understand that at Concordia, your number 22 was retired there.
It was. I think that happened in 2009. I thought it was a joke at first, because at the time, Ashton Kutcher had a TV show out about joking people.
Yeah.
I can't think of the show.
A Punk.
Punk, yes.
Yeah, Punk. Yeah, that's a good show.
Man, that was hilarious, man. I'm just like, wait a minute, man, are y'all serious?
Did you have like a ceremony for it?
Huh?
Did you have like a ceremony for it? Like
Yes. It was oasis. What was really tripped out about it is I was just one of the first people selected out of all of the history of the school to be selected, with the first round or the first choosing. So I called the president back and I was like, man, it's like, look, man, let me call you back, man, and just to make sure this isn't a joke. And he picked right back up. And he's like, no, it's me, And we had, I still kind of hung around, but I had to be sure. I was just like, man, this is special and phenomenal and crazy and weird and all of those things, man. That those feelings you get that just kind of ripple through your heart, like really, really surprised, and really, really surprised to be selected. It wasn't my intention to be selected. It wasn't my goal. I didn't even know it was going on until I got the phone call, and I'm just like, wait a minute, man. And so I'm at work, man. I had to pull away from my desk because it just made me cry.
Wow.
Because you're selected. I was kind of like Charles Barkley on that commercial. Yeah, I still got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got picked first. So it was a mixture of emotion, and mixture of wonder, mixture of me thinking about the history of the school and all the great players that I thought probably should have been selected even way before me. I didn't think that I was that of an impactful player, but I knew I wanted to win, and I knew I wanted to give my best. And even to this day, I still remember games that I wish I could have performed better or done better for my team and sacrificed a little more and things of that nature. So, but it was a big shock. It was a big shock and a big surprise to me, man. And I really thought I was on punk, man. And I was like, man, y'all gonna get me good on this. I ain't the smartest guy in the classroom. Y'all really got me on this, man.
So, after college, did you ever consider joining like the NBA draft?
No, I didn't. I didn't have I would say the sponsors, the agents, the know-how about all of the business part of the NBA. I had a friend of mine who knew an agent, and he got me into the Dallas Mavericks camp.
Ooh, the Dallas Mavericks?
Yep. At that time, the Mavericks they were a pretty good team.
Is that like Dirk Nowitzki times?
No. Before Dirk Nowitzki, there was a guy who was from Alabama named Roy Tarpley.
Oh.
Roy Tarpley was about 6'11". Now, you thought that these big guys would handle the ball like they do now. Roy Tarpley was one of those kind of guys. He was way before his time. He could shoot threes. He could drive to the basket. He could post up. Real smart, athletic player. And he was actually from, I think, South Alabama area. And, from my home state, actually. So it was him. It was Mark Aguirre who was there. Before he went to the Pistons. Derek Harper.
Derek Harper.
Yeah. Derek Harper, man. He actually changed the defensive rule, like the hand checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that now because of him. So
Yeah.
you can blame him for that. But nobody could beat him on defense.
So,
Then there was Roe Blackman. He gave Jordan like 33 points one time. He just lit him up.
man.
He was about 6'6", real long, lengthy, could shoot. Deadlift Shrimp was there in his first debut. Dexter Cambridge, who used to play at UT. He and I kind of went up together. We were roommates
Oh, wow.
during that time. Dexter Cambridge. And then there were some other players that I can't really. I think his name was White. Donaldson was up there just as well. So they were really good.
Wow.
Athletic team. They really competed. I was pretty much going to be a backup to Derek Harper.
Man.
But I didn't really kind of show my skill until like later in the camp. It was kind of too late, you know.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to get used to the pro game, I didn't have anyone there talking to me. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. So I was just kind of there by myself. And Rick Sund was I think the owner or the president at the time. So I was going to be a minimum wage player, which was going to be like $450,000 a year, which ain't a bad living.
Right,
Yeah.
very good,
That's
very
good.
good. I'll take it now.
Yeah, it still ain't a bad living.
No.
Yeah.
But $450,000 a year, so I was on the low totem pole there.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it. I was going to, just work my way up, And but I didn't have the mentorship. I didn't have the business savvy. Had a lot of athleticism, but that didn't show till like maybe the last week before. I think I got cut like 2 weeks before the season actually. And then I think Jim Jackson and them guys came on afterwards. Jim Jackson, Jason Kidd. So.
Oh, Jason Kidd.
Yeah, those guys came after, like right after I did. So that was kind of in that era.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I understand after that you played overseas?
So after I got cut, went back to a good friend of mine and stayed at his house. And he was like, man, you can't go back home. You know, there were a lot of bad things kind of going back home. And that I really didn't want to be a part of either. So I stayed with his folks out back. I went back to Denison to Reverend Pruitt and his wife. And then got a call in January. So from October, November, December, when I got, late October to January, all I did was I worked out. I just worked out, thought about, shots. Like from the Dallas camp, I just thought about shots I missed, plays I could have made. Got up, exercised, got up and ran, got up to the weight room, went to the gym. When I did have an indoor gym, I went outside and shot, And I finally got a call to go to Geneva. Switzerland. So Geneva is the one of the major cities in Switzerland. And if you can look on the map, you'll see a place called Champel. It's Hampel. And so that was the neighborhood that I lived in. And if you've ever been to the Domain area, you've been to the Domain?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's kind of how the apartment was. I was kind of you could live, you could work. work, you could shop, you can go get entertainment, you
Huh.
go to the park. It was kind of set up like that where I stayed in Champel.
Wow. Did you play anywhere else?
I then Lausanne, which is further north.
Hmm.
Lausanne is beautiful just as well. I got a chance to go across to see Germany. In Geneva, I got a chance to go to Italy, go to France, go to Spain. You know, you could take the train and, you know, travel underground and drive there, you know, arrive there and that kind of stuff. So pretty place into winter. So this winter, you remember that week we had the ice?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So just imagine that 3.5 months,
Mm.
just like that.
I don't know how I could survive like that.
Yeah. That first week was pretty hard because I couldn't get out my door, couldn't get to the grocery store because of all the ice, and so we had to wait till 3 o'clock, for the sun to come out, things of that nature, to go practice. Most of those guys already had like full-time jobs. They were like teachers and business owners. They were real cool people.
And where was this?
In Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah, in Geneva. So that was most of what my playing time was in Geneva.
Did you get any numbers retired overseas, like on those teams?
No, I didn't. I was expected to put up 25 points every game. So I was kind of a scorer. And I still got news articles. They kind of compared me to a Jordan prototype. Still got those news articles.
Wow.
And but had to put those numbers up pretty much every night. And when I first got there, I was always traveling because you had to put the ball like down real quick before you take off and all that kind of stuff. So, so you kind of have to adjust to the European game. What they call a Euro step is just simply change of direction, but they call it the Euro step because that's what they do over there a whole lot. So seeing that wasn't really a new thing, they say now. Yeah, so that was just a move with a change of direction instead of getting charges,
Oh.
And you change direction and still get to the bucket. So it was really fun. You can go over there and pull the ball off the rim and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't no goaltending and things of that nature.
So I forgot to ask about this when I was talking about Concordia in college, but don't you hold like a rebounding record or something, like highest rebound average per game?
So I averaged 25 points and I think 9.6 rebounds per game. Well, actually, it was about 10. Actually,
Yeah.
It was 25 and 10, and I was actually ranked nationally as a prolific scorer. And I was ranking myself, and I think it was another guy named Eddie Sutton. His son was doing the same thing, I think at Oklahoma State.
Oh.
So I was ranked nationally, putting up, nobody. I don't think anybody else was doing 25 and 10 a whole lot during that time. And I remember going up to a game, and one of the guys was like, "Man, you didn't average 25 and 10." And so one of the coaches pulled out all of the books of the game. I didn't know they still had that stuff up there, man. I thought that was just, and that guy went through every game.
Wow.
And averaged all of my points right there. And then the coach said, "You need to listen and you need to learn."
Mm.
And I was just like, "Well, coach, he's like, no, he needs to realize that, you put work in to do what you do." And I did. I really did. When a lot of my friends were out, playing, I was in the gym preparing.
Hmm.
The internet was not as well. It wasn't even on the scene at the time. Matter of fact, when I came back from Switzerland, the internet was on the scene. And I'm like, man, you can order shoes online. What? You can do what online?
Mm.
So when I came back, they didn't have the technology over there in overseas. So I came back over here. I was like, you can do what online? You mean so like in Round Rock they got that outlet, right?
Yeah.
And then they have one in San Marcos.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to drive from Austin to San Marcos. And that was a drive that you didn't want to waste. You want to be sure you had your money. You want to be sure soon as shoes came out, we saw on East Bay magazine. We were running down there to go get the shoes.
Man.
So when I got back, I was like, man, you can order shoes online.
Mm.
Oh wow! So it was the technology and life had like completely changed. When I got back, and then like, man, this is amazing, man. I don't have to, drive down and possibly waste a lot of gas for them to have shoes and not have shoes for me.
Mm.
The other place was in Hillsboro. They have a outlet store up there. And Nike, Converse, Reebok, Puma, all of the Adidas, all of those outlets are in the Hillsboro area. So a lot of those outlet stores, I would have to travel just to go get tennis shoes.
Well, man. So how long were you playing overseas for?
So overseas, pretty much about a year and a half in Geneva, Switzerland area, and about a year and a half in Mexico. So a total about 3 years going on for.
Man. So now I have one more question.
Sure.
And didn't you make like a basketball Hall of Fame for somewhere?
Yes, I did. That was another amazing thing because, well, I wasn't expecting that either. So that was,
You're not expecting that.
no, I really wasn't. Some people work to get notarized. I was just working because that was just how I was brought up. That was the work ethic my dad, taught me. You got to put your best, time and effort. He was a United States steel worker. He worked a lot of hours and he worked hard to support his kids. Because at the time, my mother been deceased for quite some time, and she was actually murdered and died in my arms.
Oh man.
And that's kind of why I kind of get on the kids when they, disrespect authority. They disrespect their parents or disrespect the referees. That's kind of why I always emphasize rules and officials and to improve myself, spirit, mind, and body, because they don't know what it means to not have their mother. Ricky Smiley does it, at the same, because we bonded. And so by the time my mother died, was murdered, his dad was murdered too, or died too as well. So we kind of bonded and strengthened each other. And I had some other friends, kind of the same situation. and we just supported each other as brothers. But but as far as the Hall of Fame is concerned, that was a big surprise as well, man. It was just a work ethic that I watched my dad put forth in life, and trying to implement. I wasn't trying to do it to get notarized or to be seen. It was just the pure work ethic of, you got to try harder, you got to be smarter, you got to dedicate more time. There's really no downtime, no playtime. And even though I had, that as a youth at times, but it was just that work ethic. I didn't have a vehicle so I could drive away. So, when the guys were at the club, I was at the gym. I was at the gym, and we would play a game. I would go eat. And then, there were times I went out, but most times I didn't, because I didn't have a vehicle or money to do so. I would go eat, and I'd be right back in the gym at 11:30, shooting and running and trying to condition myself, because that's all I had. Basketball was all I had. So, and basketball allowed me to travel overseas and play a little basketball and get tryouts. And it kind of paved the way for me a little bit to experience other cultures and other people, other ideas. When you read the history book from their point of view, it's a totally different story. So I didn't just go over there and just play basketball. I got to experience the culture, got to experience the people, and why they do the things they do, the things of that nature. So that was a total surprise, man. I don't. It was another, tear-jerking moment. Like, why? Why me?
Right.
But they said that they thought that because I voluntarily left basketball to preach the gospel, and they thought that was the sacrifice to follow the faith instead of following fame and fortune, best represented what they kind of look for in people that they want to, I guess, honor. So they thought that was the best representation, or one of the best representations of what they were trying to do at Concordia, that, you turn away from all of this. I was making some pretty good money.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my friends were like, man, you crazy. You what?
Oh, man.
You done lost your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You done lost, as they say with the Star Trek, have you lost your Vulcan mind? So, and but I've been able to be there for them spiritually, and be there for them for so many other people. And so Concordia thought that was the best representation of them, just sacrificing and turning down fame and following the faith is the best way to show, to live, and things of that nature. So I hope and I continue to try to strive to do that. It's work, just like it was as a professional. It's work just as well, and so I try not to misrepresent God, and I try not to misrepresent the school or my family name. I try to live up to it. I try to pass that on to young men like yourself, and to young ladies, and to families like yourself, and because it's not the money that is at the why. It's being able to pass that on to the next generation, and how does that look like, and what does it look like. So I kind of use basketball as a means to reach people and talk to them about basketball. So talk to them. I got actually three things. I kind of live my life. We try to live it pretty simple, with my children and family. Bible, books, and ball. And try to do it in that order. Bible, books, and ball. So you're going to live right for God, and live right. Have a passion for God, and have compassion toward people. And then books is your education. Aspiring to do things and use the creative gifts and intellect and influence of the stuff and experience that you learn to be an effective person in society. And then, ball is, regardless of the sport, whether it's basketball or football or volleyball, that is a means to an end. If God gives you the gifts to be able to pursue it and do it and make a little money at it, great. But you don't let the love of money rule your spirit or run your life. There's a lot of responsibility as well as temptation comes when money comes into your life, and you got to have a well-balanced perspective on life and things of that nature. So that's kind of what I'm trying to pass on to families at the Y, and student athletes like yourself. And for instance, my daughter Zoe, she was on was it WebEx or something with my grandchildren, and Zoe's in class college at Delaware State. And so what they did was got Zoe to talk to my granddaughter's classmates, over at their school, and try to make an impact, try to be influential, and try to be inspiration, and let them know how important getting your education and being obedient and listening to God and getting the work and putting in hard work is that it's worth it. So I don't have to come out of my pocket for scholarship, come out of my pocket for books or room and board. And I promised them, hey, I said, look, if you get a scholarship, full ride scholarship, we would be able to send you a little extra money. That'll be money in your pocket. And so they both have earned full ride scholarships. So when, like they need a little extra money for food or something, we're able to do it. Otherwise, I'd still be working two full-time jobs. And so they're continuing to live up to that. And we just do our best as parents to support them in that means. And any other questions?
No, I think that's going to be it. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Not a problem. If you have any other further questions, if you need me to try to fill in the gaps or explain something else, don't hesitate to call. I just want you to continue to do what you're doing as a student athlete. Your parents are really proud of you. I want you to know that. Tell how they respond to you at the games. They are model parents, and you couldn't have asked for nothing better, man. So I want you to know that they love you, that they encourage you, they expect the best out of you, and that they're there even when you fail or fall or miss. They're there for you, man, and I want you to be encouraged by that. And I want you to keep being the leader that you are on your team, being influential and hustling, talking old defense. I see all of that. Your shooting has improved. Your footwork has improved. And mainly your mentality toward the game is rubbing off on the other players, man. And I just want to encourage you to keep working hard, mentally, spiritually, physically, and a whole lot of good things are going to happen for you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wendell.
Not a problem, anytime.
Call me when you want, call me when you need, call me in the morning, I'll be on the way.